Hello. Yeah, I have the Cardi B song in my head. Hello. So I'm like, hello, it's me. Hello. You see me bopping. That's what's going on. Hello, welcome. Happy Monday. As you all are joining, give me a hey, give me a hi. Let me know where you're joining from. I am coming to you all by way of Texas. It is sunny, bright, fun, happy, shining, and hot out here in Texas, right? As y'all are joining, give me a hey, give me a hi. I always have my YouTube people too. I'm going live simultaneously on YouTube and LinkedIn. So I notice I've been getting more and more YouTube people. So I wanted to give y'all a shout out. All right. Thank you all for joining. This is a very interesting topic. So this topic was supposed to be last week. We had to postpone it till Tuesday, and then I had technical issues. So we're doing it seriously for real this time. And it's on how my client landed 10 patients in 2 months for her thriving practice. And this is a client who started a therapy practice, right? The techniques and the tips that I'm going to share with you all, her story has also worked and will work if you are starting your own service business, coaching business. Also, if you're starting your own practice in therapy, psychology, medical practice, these tips will work. And I have helped clients throughout the gamut. Most people know me for helping my clients get to six figures and beyond in their careers. Right? Love it. Specifically, I work with women of color. In the last few years, what has happened, you'll have not noticed, is things have been a little bit, I would say, and unsecure, like unstable, not as stable on the career front. So about 50 to 60% of my clients wound up starting their own businesses. And then I had clients come to me who solely wanted business practice, who solely wanted help growing their business. And my style is not just about helping you make money. That's a huge piece. I also focus on helping you as a woman of color and as a Black woman live your dream life. That was the whole point of me helping my clients get to six figures and beyond in their careers so that they could have their dream life. And now I've kind of pivoted myself a little bit and really focused on helping Black women and women of color increase their income in their business so that they can have their dream life. And honestly, this has been something that's been coming, I would say, for years. I've been helping my clients grow their business for years. However, in 2025 is when I saw a drastic increase in women coming to me for more business help. I also saw that the job market was changing. And I am a firm believer that you should have more than one source of income. You can have a primary source, but you should have one source. And most people always looked at their business as like a little business, little backup, little side hustle, are now seeing it's so much opportunity out here to make your business your primary source of income. I make more in my business than I ever did in my career. And that's just the truth. Right? And that is how it will continue to be. You can control your own income when it comes to your business. So this is what I want to share, the story about my client, how she landed 10 patients in 2 months, starting her new practice. This was a new business she was starting. She did have experience. She was a licensed therapist. She had been in her career for over 10 years. I want to say almost close to 20 years she had been in her career. That being said, I have seen people start their business who have been in their careers for 5 or 6 years. It is up to you. There's no specific time frame. So let me just say that up front, but this is her story. Again, I also want to know if you all have any questions, start putting them in. I'm going to be doing an AMA soon where I'm going to be like, ask me anything business related. Ask me anything how to get your dream clients. Ask me anything how to run a six-figure business, right? So feel free to start putting your questions, your comments in the comment section. But I really wanted to talk about this, especially now. They recently came out with an article saying more Black women and women of color than ever before have started businesses. And that is mostly shifted so much because of the job market. because of what's going on with jobs, with a lot of women of color losing their jobs, either fired, layoff, companies closing, contracts getting canceled, whatever the case may be. So, if you are someone who has a business, wants to start a business, or has been in your business for a while, this is going to help you. Let me do a quick intro. Hey, I'm Latrice Huff, business and career coach to ambitious women of color. I help you have more income and generate more clients in your business so you can live your dream life on your own terms. Okay, this is for you on your own terms. And as Black women and women of color, we'll make some things work, but is it on our terms? We need to make things work on our terms the way we want, so we are stress free, so we are traveling, living our best lives. This is also for you if you're the type of person, I always call it like successful on paper, but stressed out on person. Like you have the degrees, you have the income, but you're like, I can't live my life like this. You got to find, and I don't even like balance, it's more harmony. Okay. So we're going to just get right into it. And I'm going to share with you all this story. And as I'm going through the story, and I have my notes right here, if you all see me looking, I want you to think about how this can apply to you. I also want to say, if you are just joining, feel free to make sure you're following me. Make sure you hit the notification bell twice so you get notified when I go live. And then also share this out. If you know there is a Black woman, a woman of color, someone you're close to, a colleague or a family member, and they have their own business and struggling, or they're working in a business and struggling, they don't need to struggle anymore. Just share this out. Because if not anything, I want to share with people the possibility. I want you all to know what is possible for you all. Okay. Side note, I want to say it's August 13th. I'm doing my workshop, how I made $40,000 in 1 month as a Black woman business owner without launching, without crazy emails, all those things. If you all are interested in getting that free webinar, just put pivot in the comments and I'll send you all that link. So you can just put pivot. Let me see. I think I have a little banner notification. Yeah, just put the word pivot in the comments, and me or my assistant will send you that. We'll send you the notification. We'll send you the link. Okay, so getting started. So I want to first share with you all how my client came to me, because this is also important. She was actually a former coworker. I like people to think about this because you all know I'm huge on personal branding and building your brand. You can start building your brand wherever you are. Okay, you can start building your brand now. So I built my brand at work. She knew I was a good employee. I was good in my leadership role. When I left that company, I stayed in touch with a lot of people, but I also built my own business, and she saw me grow my business. So initially, I thought she was coming to me for career coaching. It wasn't. She was like, hey, I want to know how you've grown your business. Like, we were in the same company. We were at the same place. How have you grown this business? And I was like, okay. So I shared with her what I did. And I primarily used LinkedIn and Facebook as my primary way of like marketing and communication. And the first thing she said, she was like, I don't want to use social media. I'm not a social media person. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like, well, okay. Don't worry about that. Let's work it out. I was like, that's not even a major hurdle or a major constraint. And I will say this is what I think is the difference between me and a lot of other coaches. Not only have I run my own successful six-figure business, and I started from scratch, from zero. Most people don't know this, but I have a whole business degree. This was my field of study, people. Like, I have a whole business degree with a concentration in marketing. So this is what I actually went to school for. Sometimes you'll see people who went to school for business and never ran a business before. Or more than likely, you'll see people out here who have a business helping other people, and they have never run a successful business in their life. Everything they're telling you is just theory or recycle things off of the internet, so then they can be very limited in the advice that they give you when you say, hey, this is one of my constraints. I don't want to use social media, or I don't want to do ads or something like that. So I was telling her, I was like, that is not an issue. She was like, hey, ultimately, I want to book out my practice. And I was like, well, how many clients is that? She was like, 10 clients. And she said, it's going to take her 12 months. She had this whole plan that she got from somewhere. She's like, I need to get my website. I need to get, she's like, and my website is going to take a few months. I need to get credentialed. If you all know anything about working with insurance companies, you have to get credentialed. She was like, I have to get credentialed by all these insurance companies, and they could take 2 to 4 to 6 months, depending on which ones. So she was coming to me to honestly to be like, okay, I have some gaps in my plan. Can you just help me fill in these gaps? And I'm like, well, what if we toss that whole plan out? We can quit your timeline. And she was very connected to like this 20-page business plan and connected. And I was like, girl, what do you ultimately want for your life? What do you want for your life? And this is one of the main things that I start with my clients. What is your dream life? She was doing this because she wanted to build a legacy for her and her kids. Right? She was not just going through the motions to start a business to start a business. She wanted this as a legacy, something she could have her kids working with her in, something she could leave her kids, something she could build on. And this is what you always want to start with. What is your dream life? Then we can go into how you're going to get that, what you do want to do, what you don't want to do. But what is your why behind it? So many times we jump right into the tactics, right? Because that's what we've been taught works. Hard work tactic. Y'all, they've been lying to y'all. It is not. Hard work is only one slice of the pie in getting what you want. It is not the entire pie. All right. Hey, Ruth. Aw, let me just say, oh, she says, thanks, Latrice. Don't know if you remember me, but I just doubled my pay. Wow. Okay. I do remember you, Ruth. How are you doing? I'm loving it. I love hearing from people that I've spoken with or worked with in the past. And I love seeing how you all look. And I love that picture too. I love your profile picture. It's beautiful. But thank you for joining in. Thank you for leaving your comment. So let me tell you all, we had this conversation with my client, and she's telling me how she's going to take, it's going to take her a full 12 months. She doesn't want to do, social. Actually, we didn't even get to the social media yet. She told me that at first. I was like, let's put a pin in that. The first thing, what is your dream life? Why are you doing this? What is your purpose? Right? And sometimes people will be like, I just want to make more money. I'll be like, great, we're going to do that. How do you think this money is going to change your life? What do you want to do with the money? Do you just want to save it, invest it? Do you want it to grow? And if you do, what is it growing for? What type of life do you want? That's how we always need to start, is asking that question. What is your dream life? And your dream life could look completely different than somebody else's. That's okay. But that once we start there, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. So for her, she was like, hey, and I'm not quitting my job right now. I still want to work. And I was like, yeah, you probably should still work. So she was working full time. She had older children, but she knew she wanted to build a legacy. And she knew working for someone else forever was not going to help her build the legacy that she wanted for herself and her kids, right? So not just the wealth and the money, but she wanted legacy, something that she could pass on. She wanted her kids to work with her. That was her dream life and the cause and the reasoning behind creating her business. Okay. So then I was like, all right, fine. Now we get into what is your dream business? And she was like, I want a booked out practice, something I can do while I still work, but I want to bring in all my income. Because when you work for someone else, even if you're getting 40% or 60%, they're still getting a huge chunk of your money, of your income, right? And she was like, I want to get all of it myself. I was like, got it. Fine. Again, she was like, I already contracted with someone to do my website. They said it's going to take, I think, 2 to 3 months and several $1,000s for this website. She was like, I already did this. And to me, the thing she did, I was like, this is a lot of money when you didn't have anything coming in. And none of these will help. I was like, a website does not automatically equate to bringing clients in. What do you want? And she was like, I would like to start serving clients. Because I was like, do you have the skills? Do you have the talent? Can you service your clients now? She was like, yeah, but I have to, she was like, but I have to get credentialed. And this is what I would say people make the mistake of. When you run a small business or when you're starting your business, you are not a large corporation, which allows you to actually be more flexible, have faster decisions, and implement things faster. So I was asking her, now I already knew the answer because I had worked in a mental health I worked in the mental health industry. And I said, is the only way you can see clients is to get credentialed? And she was like, yes. I said, is the only way you can see clients? And she was like, no. I was like, how else? If you needed to see clients tomorrow, what could you do? She was like, I could do self-pay. Why don't you do self-pay? I was like, why don't you take in self-pay clients while you're being credentialed? That way your business is not on hold. Sometimes I've seen people plan and do the back end of their business. I call it the research and development phase for years. Minimum one, she was doing this minimum 1 year, but I've seen people who come to me and have been in the research and development phase for 2 or 3 years and has never served a client, never helped anyone, never generated a cent. And this is when people see this and someone is like, you need to have this website, you need to have this, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it's not true. If someone tells you you only need this one thing, they're not being truthful to you. A business, to run a successful business, takes multiple things, but you don't need all the multiple things at one time. And there's no one single thing that will give you everything in your business. Let me just tell you all that. You have to look at where you are, what you want, and what are your goals. And in fact, with her doing self pay, I was like, well, what are some of the benefits? She would get the money immediately. She didn't have to wait to be credentialed. She could, she could also choose the type of people she wanted to work with. She didn't want to work with people with significant mental health disorders. She had her specialty. And I was like, all right. I was like, you know what? We're going to do a 1-page business plan. 1 page. And so I was like, okay, you can do self-pay while you're getting credentialed. She's like, but I also need a website. And I was like, do you need a website? Like, do you, if someone's telling you it's going to take months, I'm a firm believer websites build credibility. But I had someone tell me that before she started her business, she spent 20,000 on branding, and that's the way she believes it should be. And I was like, okay, but I don't believe that. I don't think that you need to spend 20,000 when you have not made a cent in your business. There are other ways to do it. I do believe you need a website, but some things you don't need immediately. And if you don't have all the pieces, your website won't even do anything for you. If you don't know who your target client is, when your hours are going to be, who you're going to work with, if you don't know all these things and you just making it up, you're going to have this pretty fancy website that nobody's coming to. How are you generating traffic? How are you marketing? How are you sending people to it? How are they getting to you? How are they booking? It's so many questions that need to be answered even before then, but there are quicker ways. So one of the things when we were like, okay, this is who you want to work with, you can do self-pay. All right, fine. Then we were like, in order to get self-pay, people need to be able to pay you. Who's your dream client right now who can afford to pay you? So we listed out her dream clients. Then we came to, how are you going to attract those dream clients? How are they going to find you? Right? How are you going to be able to talk to them? And she was adamant she did not want to use social media. And she was like, no social media. And I was like, okay. And she was like, everybody else I said that to, they said I have to use social media. I was like, you don't. Social media is my preference. I love YouTube. I love LinkedIn. I love scrolling on TikTok. I haven't done TikTok videos yet, but I love scrolling on it. But I was like, hey, what is easiest for you? And this is where when I really speak about mindset, manifestation, and marketing, this is how it shows up. You have to know that you are enough. You have to know that what's innate inside of you will work. For her, she was very repelled and put off by social media. We could have dug into the why and did all this, but I was like, hey, you're just starting off. What if you don't need to use it right now? You don't need to use it yet. And when I tell people this story, including other business owners, they're like, well, how did she get clients without social media? And I was like, yo, it's 1,000,001 ways. This is where I really attribute my business degree and my marketing degree coming into play, because I know social media is only one piece of marketing. It is not your entire marketing. So I was like, let's come up with your marketing mix. How else? I asked her, I was like, how else can you get clients? She was like, I'm not sure. I was like, what about referrals? She had a very strong background because she had been working nearly 20 years in the same field. She knew a lot of people. I said, could you start a referral program? We talked about referrals. Another thing was directories and advertisements. And so as a small business, people don't always think about this, but some directories are really, really inexpensive. And so one of the ones she used is Therapy for Black Girls. I found my therapist on Therapy for Black Girls, and I always recommend this. I think finding um, a culturally understanding therapist is a good idea. So just give it a little I am not sponsored by them. I get no income from Therapy for Black Girls. It is just an amazing site that she used. So she was like, okay, I'm going to sign up with them. I think she might have used Psychology Today, Psychology Times, but it was like 2 or 3 things that she did very, very low cost to start off, way less than the thousands she was going to be spending on a website. And so that was the marketing. We worked on her mindset, we worked on her marketing. Then how are we going to manifest this? I was like, we need to think about exactly what you want your life to look like. How do you want them to come to you and believe that this is going to be true and hold on to this vision consistently? When you hold on to a vision, when you visualize, I don't know if you all know this, but your brain cannot tell the difference from imaginary to reality. This is why if we think of something sad, we may cry. You think of something great that happened to you, right? And you start smiling, right? You're having a physical reaction to something that's going on in your mind because your mind doesn't know the difference. And so therefore you can convince your brain that something is going to happen or has happened even before it has in reality, and it's going to show up. And that's what we think about manifestation, is how can I create what I want? How can I keep that vision and make it come to fruition? Okay. And that was what we worked on, and that was what we did as we executed these things. I was like, you don't need to wait for the insurance companies. You can still, yes, we're going to get credentialed. In the meantime, we don't put our business on hold. Yes, you can get your website done, but in the meantime, we're not going to spend $10,000 on a website that's going to take months and months and months when we don't even know exactly who we're talking to. And the more you work with your clients, the more you'll start to learn their language as well, right? And so this is what we did. We came up with exactly what is her why? What's her ultimate reason for doing this? What does her dream life look like, right? For her, it was legacy, working with her daughter. What do you want? She was like, she knew she wanted 10 clients. She thought it would take her 12 months. I was like, okay, now. And here's the thing. I thought it would take us 3 months. I thought it would take us 3 months to accomplish this. We did it in 2 months. And it was like, the income. She knew she still wanted to have her full-time job. How did you want to attract them? We came up with the plan of like how she's going to get clients, which was by referrals and mostly directories and a little advertisement as well. And then we executed and held on to that vision. Within, I want to say about the first 3 weeks, she started to get clients. By 2 months, her practice was completely booked out with 10 patients. And this was a brand new business. Again, referral. She had already built up a huge brand in her industry. So if you already have a business or you're looking to start your business, sometimes I don't even recommend people read a whole bunch of articles and things like that. Maybe 5, honestly, 3 to 5. And then you need to decide what is best for you. What is the easiest thing that you can execute with the time you have allotted? That's how you're going to do it. And so this brings me to what I love to talk about is trusting your own intuition. Sometimes when you hear too many voices, things get jumbled, and we forget that we're intuitive creatures, that we know what's best for us. Sometimes we can have an idea and we need somebody to just help us fan the flames of the idea, not give us something completely new and take us in a whole different direction. If you know you're not good at public speaking, and you're talking with someone and they're like, the only way to generate income in your business is to do public speaking, and you know the thought of public speaking makes you throw up, don't do that. Think about, okay, what's the easiest thing for me? Because I'm gonna tell you a secret. It all works. Whatever works for you will work. If you don't want to do public speaking, you don't have to. If you don't want to be on social media going live all the time, like I do, you don't have to. What works for you? What is the easiest way that you can show up in something you will do consistently? Right? And here's the thing. Marketing is just a piece of it. Marketing, attracting your clients, You still have to have a strong why. You still have to have systems behind it. You still need to know how you're going to deliver to your clients. But this doesn't need to take months and months and months. You can do this in a very short amount of time. It doesn't take a 30-page business plan either. And I know I'm being controversial here, and this is coming from someone who for like a class project had to complete a 30-page marketing plan, had to complete like a 60-page marketing plan. This is also coming from someone who has created her own business from scratch and runs a six-figure business. You don't need to do that, especially starting off. Things should be building on each other, because we could get so caught up in the research and development and the planning that years have gone by and there's no execution. All right. So I want you all to think about this. Even if you have your own business and you are getting clients, getting patients, is it the way that you want? Right? Is it easy for you? Is it still allowing you to live your dream life? If the answer is no, you need to do something differently. All right. And again, I'm also going to invite you all to join my free workshop, How I Manifested $40,000 in 1 month as a woman of color business owner. I'm going to share with you all the exact techniques that I use, my thought process, my marketing, my concepts that I use to generate this, and how you can use them too. If you're interested in that, go ahead and put pivot in the comments and we will send you that free workshop. Let me see. I thought I had my little banner up, y'all. Let me see. Here we go. Okay, just put pivot in the comments and I'll send you all that link. If you all have any other questions, comments, put them in the comment section. If y'all have any topics that you want me to go over, put them in the comments. This is part of my Boardroom to Business series that I'm going to be doing I'm doing it for the month of July, and I did it for the month of July, and I'm going to do it for the month of August. A lot of people seem interested in this, how you can take what you've learned, what you've used, and what you're doing in your career, and how can that translate to a successful business so you can live your dream life. That's what this is all about. All right. You all have a good day. Happy Monday. And thank you all for joining me.